unnoticeable.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bad Science Sunday, where we take a comedic approach to discrediting bad science on the internet. Today, we're going to do bad physics. What would you call it?
I I would say this is bad physics and metaphysics. Um,
Metaphysics. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
think that was the word I was looking for.
yeah,
Leo has a laptop. So the join link,
ostensibly.
yeah, is not working for him. So we're since we had so many people coming in or raiding us, I think we had 2 raids. So I have
That's probably
emailed
true.
him. Doc has emailed him. We are hoping he comes very, very soon. Doc, say hi.
Hello. Sorry, I was trying to interact with a toque joke that
A
that Dr.
toque
Phil
joke.
the toque
Isn't that a
joke.
beanie? It's a
It is a
Canadian
beanie.
beanie.
It's what yeah. It's cuz you can tell because it has an unnecessary Q in it. Because
Oh,
what the fuck, Canada?
yeah. It's it's like not quite pompous enough to be French, ergo Canada.
Well, I think it is. I think it is French. It's just
I
Canadian
don't
French.
know. It's like, no, it's Canadian for beanie. Duh.
Well, yeah, but Canadian for beanie is probably the same as French for beanie.
No, I don't think the French do. The French chat. Does the French have toques, or is that just
Oh,
like
I,
strictly Canadian?
apparently my mic is low, so let me.
Your mic is low. I thought it was just me because
No,
I've
it's
had a
never just
weekend.
you.
I've had a horrible weekend, so I'm just like all my stuff is out of whack. Like I was about to hit the go live button, and then my computer was like, "I'm shutting down now." Like, of course you are. Why wouldn't you be? So, um,
Is this better?
oh my god,
Testing,
that is
testing.
awesome!
Yeah, there we go. Hello.
Yay! Oh, you're in the wrong
Get rid
place.
of that too. Okay.
We can see you. Can
Uh,
you hear and see us,
can you
I
Leo?
hear and
can
see
both
us?
hear and see you. I don't know if you can hear or see
Fantastic.
me.
We can do both.
Everybody, we got Leo. Or whoops, that was
There we go.
oh. All right, Leo, where you been, bud?
Working.
You have a job?
Unfortunately, yes. Oh
Oh
god.
my God! Welcome to the patriarchy. It's the wonderful
It's
world of
great out here.
capitalism. It'll kill your soul.
Hey,
It
Leo.
does. That's what it does. I mean, the money is nice, but
I mean,
everything
yeah,
else is not.
yeah. The
And when
coworkers
you're
and dealing with the boss and
well, my boss was actually awesome. She was fucking younger than I was. She was great. It was great until she got terminated for bullshit I'm not going to get into. So, because
that's
we don't need
fair.
to do that here. And now I
No.
just really just don't even want to fucking show up anymore. I really fucking
Oh
don't.
man, that's horrible.
But it
Yeah,
sucks because
and I'll tell you, great bosses are hard to find.
they are. They're so, and that's what like really
Yeah.
made this job, if I'm being honest, like to begin with, is that and the person that we have working in our office, our customer service representative, is what we call them, is great too. And I'm pretty sure she's still there. I don't know if she's planning on staying there long term or not, because we both got along well with our manager, who is now gone. And again, the reasons are bullshit, but we don't have to talk about that right
We
now.
don't talk about
Just
that.
it
Look,
sucks.
they oh, hey, my mods want to know if there's any links they can show for you because they
I mean, my
really enjoy
YouTube
doing
channel,
that.
but I haven't posted anything for 8 months. I've got a
I
lot of
did
stuff
notice
I'd like
that.
to post, but I don't know when I will post anything because I don't know when I will have the time to post anything.
You
Oh,
should do
right,
my
because of
strategy.
horrible soul-sucking job. I get
Yeah,
You
it.
should
horrible
do
soul-sucking job, and then going to the gym, which is enjoyable.
Oh, cool. You know
But
what? No, that's good. If you have to have a horrible soul-sucking job, the gym is a great outlet. I know from experience that and meditation, which Doc also agrees with me. It's
Yeah,
be
I
great.
haven't yet been converted to the gym movement, but I
you
have
should.
horrifically high blood pressure and bad
People
genetics,
keep
so I
saying
should
that.
probably do that.
Well,
I mean, it feels right, but
I would talk to your doctor. about going to the gym first, unless you've already done something like that,
Yeah,
just to make
no,
sure.
don't do it. They're just going to tell you to go.
No,
Right
they
now, you
yeah.
have been like medically cleared to go to the gym, so you have that opt right now, and
No, I don't. I don't. I have been on top of my health insofar as I have had a lot of doctor's appointments over the last few years, and they are all being like, you should exercise, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to, and they're like, you should cut down on so the last doctor's appointment I had was with a cardiologist, and he said if it tastes good, you can't eat it. And I was like, well, I think I might just die then. And he's like,
Wow.
you can have a steak every night. Okay, but no sodium, no white foods, no carbs, but you can eat steak every day. And I'm like, well,
White
that's
food?
not that bad.
Why does he
Like
hate you?
pasta,
Oh,
yeah, carbs.
like white colored foods, not
Yeah,
like
okay,
Oh,
sorry.
hamburgers,
No,
yeah,
white colored
rolled
food.
hot
Sorry.
dogs and shit like that. I thought you meant like white
yeah.
people's
So
food.
yeah, I know. Able to have like the potato salad with raisins in it.
Who
Yeah,
the fuck puts
pumpkin
raisins?
spice latte. I mean, come on.
If you put raisins in your potato salad is bad, and you are bad, and I want you to know that you're bad.
Same, actually.
Because I
Same.
love a good potato salad. Oh God, let me tell you what, I'll tear some potato salad the fuck up. So you put raisins in. I love raisins. Raisins are great. Raisins are really good.
Raisins are
But
great.
yeah,
And a cup of
it's
raisins
an either
contains
or
more.
kind of situation, though, right? Like we're
Is
not
it?
doing the whole like
Is it? No, it's not.
I
What
don't
the
know.
fuck
It's like
am I
my
doing?
food is touching.
Pineapple on pizza.
Is
Great.
great.
Yeah, I pro.
Pineapple on
Okay.
pizza is good if you put other toppings that are also good with it, like pineapple and pepperoni, because you get that sweet,
Yeah.
but then you
Yeah.
get that
Yeah,
salty.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and you got to have the right pizza sauce. It's got to be kind of
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
pizza sauces generally are sweeter anyway, and they should be. So you got to make sure that it's a bit of a
Yeah,
sweeter sauce.
gotta, yeah, it can't be too sweet. It's not an ice cream cake. Yeah, no, Leo is right. You have to cut it. So, like, one of my favorite pizzas is Papa John's. It pineapple it's barbecue chicken bacon, but I take the bacon off. Hawaiian pizza, which so you get the tanginess from the barbecue, and then you have the chicken, and I don't know. I also do like Hawaiian pizzas. They're not bad. I do prefer pepperoni
Yeah,
to ham, though.
To me, pepperoni is just objectively the best pizza. Like just a good classic. Everybody's like, "Oh, but what about cheese?" And I'm like, a cheese pizza is just a pizza with no toppings. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like
Are you-
a cheese pizza is like an unfurnished house.
it's the pinnacle. It represents the pinnacle of white culture. It's very bland and basic, and they think that's the greatest thing ever.
Leo's raised by white people. Don't cancel me.
We
But
are
if you want to
not-
I was
cancel Leo,
raised by white people in like one of the whitest places in the country. So
Fuck yeah, Iowa.
yeah. So yeah, cancel
I
Leo.
assume.
Don't cancel me. That's how that should go. Actually, yeah, this is going to be a wild ride. I put together a clip of the last time Leo was here.
Oh, you did.
that was
These two just off in their own world, jacking each other off.
I knew what I was signing up for when the chat said bring on Leo.
Yeah, so Leo, you and I should start an OnlyFans, is what I'm saying.
only physics.
That works.
Observer
I
exists.
think we'd actually
In their
probably make like just teaching physics, naked and erect in front of a camera, not touching each other, just full buck ass naked, fully stiff,
Look at Nick.
going over
in
incline
the
planes.
nude.
I
Someone help me.
dude, like actually though, that could be hilarious.
I actually think we'd probably make some money.
Okay. Mine's literally going to like
Wait, help me. I don't know how I got here. I don't know.
Like the old Greeks.
Like, is there a door or a black hole? For fuck's sake.
MIT
candidate
doesn't
for the
give their
role of an
lectures in
observer.
black hole thermodynamics completely naked and fully erect. We do things differently here at only physics.
The
We're
world may
about
be self-simplified, or more
stimulating
precise.
All right,
your mind.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry,
need to
I
like
can't
upgrade
stop.
to vodka because like this wine is just not hitting it.
you know,
You know,
the
I got a
graduate
new
students
joke.
in my lab know about this show.
I got a new joke. If we're doing it fully erect, we should label the series "Physics is Hard."
Oh my god. Oh.
Fuck.
Well, I think that was the climax of the show, folks.
But
I'm also
I'm gonna
becoming
get fired.
influenced, so I might be muting frequently to get those gnarly, very liquidy coughs. You know, the real liquidy ones. Like
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
hear
Don't,
somebody cough and you go, "Are you all
you're like,
fucking
oh man,
okay,
you.
dude?"
Yeah, like
so Dr. Tapioca Weasel gifted him Johnny
uh,
Smith, Storm Chaser, Bloodstream, Jesse, and Bar, who, anytime he hits me up can be a friend of the show. So welcome. Please enjoy your tapioca weasels, your nitties and vaginas. And actually, so part of the thumbnail too is showcasing a new, what do you call it? Where is it? One of our new emojis, if you will. So, Mark Egamoto Smith, I've been promising you for a while that I would get you your own thingamabob, and I cannot because I don't know, like all your colleagues here are like stingy colleagues, or all your friends in the chat are stingy bastards and won't give me enough like cult members to get to that over that hump. So I do see you. I see you over there giving me money, and so I've combined them. So we have Sith Jedi's. I don't know, but because you were late, Jedi gets to keep the name. But you're in there, bud, as promised. So I don't know. Church you?
fantastic.
I don't know what to say.
I never know what to say.
A lot for people who don't know what to say. And then there's something else happened. Oh, Leo, who are you and where are you and why do people know who you are? What do you do on the internet?
I don't really do anything on the internet at the moment. I really want
Hey,
that to
yeah,
change, but
good strategy.
it will change
Oh, bad
at some
strategy.
point, and that will probably be sometime in mid-April
Okay.
because we in like a month anhydrous season is going to hit, and that's going to be like 4 or 5 straight weeks of 12-hour days doing nothing but filling nurse tanks to be pulled behind a toolbar through a field full of dangerous ammonia that we use as a source of nitrogen for the corns because the
Well,
corns
I
they
mean,
need the nitrogen.
as long as all of the other stuff involved is not at all explosive.
No, it's not. It's not an explosive chemical, as far as I know, but it is
Okay.
a serious inhalation hazard. It's ammonia, so I mean NH3. It's actually pretty harsh stuff. I should have wake you up. Like smelling salts. I don't need smelling salts like at all. I see people react to smelling salts, and I laugh because that's what ammonia makes you do. I get it just straight from the source. I don't need it in the salt because I just can inhale it whenever the fuck I want, really. So, and
Which is
it'll
how
wake you
often?
the fuck up. It will. It'll because I'll tell you
That's
what.
for sure,
If
yeah.
you're 12 years old and your balls ain't dropped yet, you take a good whiff of this, a plink plonk is gonna happen. Okay, like it's some hearty stuff. Let me tell you.
Oh
Is
my
that
God.
what
So
happened to
for
you? Is that
$2.22, my unfinished journey says, Hail Nero, hail the goddess, hail Leo, and hail this confusion of weasels.
we are a proud people?
Thank you, my unfinished journey. Welcome on in. All right, Doc. Oh, you know what else I didn't do? Because Leo did not have the join link. This is what I need.
What's happening?
Wait, Leo.
Right now, I'm just showing them a blank screen.
Yeah,
You
I
want
know.
me to do my video intro stuff?
Yeah, sure, and I'll get Leo.
All right. So today's video is the title of the video is "Consciousness May Have Created the Universe." Hyphen. This is very strange. I agree with half of that.
Yeah.
And this is from the channel Fexel. I assume that's an L. And they have a cool 137,000 subscribers. And this video from February 2nd, 2025 has 41,000 views. So, that's actually, decently performing video, I think, on their channel,
Yeah. So, Leo, you said you like the philosophy of science, and
And this is science, I promise.
I'm not sure if I like the philosophy of science or if the philosophy of science just kind of claimed me, and then that's just how it goes.
Yeah,
okay,
That's
yeah.
the way it works with philosophy. You don't get into philosophy; philosophy gets into you.
That
interesting.
feels non-consensual.
I'm not
Anyway,
sure if it is or not. All right, I'm
yeah.
just going with it. Okay.
All right. So I think we should just go for it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's a 19-minute video. I think this is actually a good length for us tonight.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Science teach
We'll get about 4 minutes, I think.
We'll
it's
get
kind
better
of
than that,
our
trust
MO.
me.
Science teaches us that the laws of physics are ridiculously, almost unbelievably fine-tuned for you and me. Take the electro
For
Yeah.
you and me.
hmm Specifically.
Yeah, so
What?
one of the topics is going to be the fine-tuning argument, obviously.
Ooh.
Yeah.
magnetic force, for example,
Oh my
is
god. Hold on. I have to let them give me that one again.
tuned for you and me. Take the electromagnetic
Okay.
force, for example.
They did both.
Its value is perfectly adjusted to allow stars to fuse protons and neutrons, producing carbon, the
Ah.
essential building block of
That's
life.
best for you.
Then there's the strong nuclear force, which holds protons and neutrons together. If it were slightly stronger, the universe would only consist of hydrogen.
That's not true in the most technical sense.
Yeah, so I will like if to steel man their point, it is true that if you in a vacuum tweaked these parameters a little bit, and by a little, it doesn't mean like literally infinitesimally, but it can mean a fairly substantial, like pretty small amount, that things would have happened very differently. But generally, the difference is between a universe that exists for a fraction of a nanosecond and a universe that exists for not a fraction of a nanosecond. So for like in terms of us being special, the fact that the universe survived at all, which would be a very strong selection effect, if that is a mechanism that is at play, then like yeah, no duh, like of course, but
If the universe were different, it would be different.
it could it be different?
I mean,
The question's still out on that. Like there's not a lot of reasons to think it like could be different. There's also, to be fair, there's not a ton of I think great reasons necessarily a priori to think that it couldn't be different either. But
I think the universe could be different. I'm just
I
because
agree.
I feel like
I
if you
agree.
say that it couldn't be, then that commits you to necessitarianism, and I think that there are some problems with that view.
But I think it's an open question still. Like these are questions of cosmology, and we don't know, and so opining so confident, but that's not what they said. They said that it's made for us, for you and me.
That's the part
people.
that I don't understand. So first off, I'm not sure what they mean by fine tuning because they're not using it the way that physicists do. And what's strange to me is how so many people claim, well, I just mean by fine tuning what the physicists mean, and then use it in a way that the physicists wouldn't. So when an actual
Yes,
theoretical
that's
physicist,
how they.
Is it well? I would say that they tried to. I think that they did try to use it the way that physicists used it. They're making a YouTube video with a bunch of flashy AI produced background images. They're not very good at steel manning the argument.
well, so
No, it's like what Leo said. I mean fine tuning in the way that the physicists do, but I use it in a way that physicists wouldn't. Like, yes, that is what.
no
Yeah, that
physicist
is
would
what they
say
mean.
that the universe is finely tuned for life. I mean, most of them would say it's finely tuned for black holes before it's finely tuned for life. But we need to understand what it is that physicists mean by the phrase fine tuning. when a physicist talks about something being finely tuned, what they mean is that within our theories that we have about the world, if we want them to work properly, there's certain parameters in that theory where we have to put in very, very, very highly specific values.
Yes.
Otherwise, that theory is not going to work. And we're not sure why it's this highly precise value that we've got to put in. But that's
Yeah.
more or less likely because our theories are incomplete. Rather
Yes.
than that something, and this is usually what the apologists mean by fine tuning, is that something beyond the universe intentionally set
Yes.
its parameters into highly precise values with the intended goal of life arising. Now, that has a lot of problems right off the bat. One of the biggest issues with, regardless of how you use fine tuning, is the idea that the universe is finely tuned for life. Because why should I think that? Why should I think it's finely tuned for life simply because life can arise? So can protons. Why would I not say that the universe is as equally fine tuned for protons? There are more protons, and protons can form much more easily than life. So it seems to me that if the universe is fine tuned for anything, it's fine tuned for protons, or stars, or galaxies, or black holes, or any of the other myriad of objects that form much more easily and exist in much greater abundance than life does.
It's not fine-tuned for neutrons, though, because neutrons only survive like 15 minutes.
Yeah. And protons might not decay at all. They probably do, but they might not.
Yeah, we have no experimental evidence that they do decay isolated free protons. And the lower limit on their lifetime is like, it's an absurdly high number. It's
longer than the universe has
existed. It's many times longer, because if you you can get a shit ton of protons together and then watch, and if you saw a single one, that would put some upper bound, and so far we haven't seen a single one.
Yep.
And they're not rare. It's easy to get your hand on a shit ton of protons.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So yeah.
So I can see by the hat on your head that you've noticed a certain question from a certain lady.
I have, yes.
Blessed be he would like to know what is in a quark and what is it made of? You fake weasel doctor.
So what is inside a quark? I don't know that there's anything inside a quark. It's not really so quarks, as far as we know, are fundamental particles. What is it made of? It's a quark. It's the thing that makes up other things. It's I suppose it's made of, in some sense, like frozen energy, if you wanted to get pretty irresponsible with how you talk about things. It has mass. It is a fermion. It is made, therefore, of some angular momentum, specifically 1/2 h bar k of worth of angular momentum. H bar, not h bar k, sorry. Worth of angular momentum. It is made fundamentally of the quark field, whatever species of quark you're talking about. If you're talking about like a strange quark, then it would be made of the strange quark field, which is part of the fields associated with the strong nuclear force, for example. But that is not going to satisfy.
I think.
Blessed be he.
So there's two things I want to say as it concerns elementary particles. And I don't think you said it this way, but I've heard people say it this way. Elementary particles are not made of their fields; they are their fields. Much the same way that a wave on the ocean isn't made up of ocean; it is the ocean doing a specific thing. That's what elementary particles are. They are the fields doing a thing.
They are.
The field does a thing there. That's a part.
They are the lowest excited state of the field, and then you can have like multiple of those. If like you that's what. If you have multiple quarks of a certain type, then that would be multiple excitations. But they are the field. The field is the thing. Is a statement that is fairly like the idea that the fundamental objects in physics, the fundamental ontology is field based is a very, very popular one. Not everybody agrees with it, and you can probably
And it's only
find
been around about the last 50 years.
indeed it has, but so has
50,
the evidence
60.
for it. So
Yeah,
it would be
exactly. Yep.
pretty silly for it to have been around longer.
Yep. And there was something, I think it was Martin Bauer, who's a physicist, at Durham University in the United Kingdom. Don't quote me on that. I might be getting it wrong, and I don't want to. Well, I can't get to Twitter on this laptop, but I'm pretty sure it was him. The way that he described it is that the reason why we can talk about matter in terms of molecules, and then molecules in terms of atoms, and then atoms in terms of elementary particles, and then elementary particles in terms of quantum fields, which it's not, once you get to elementary particles and quantum fields, it's not so much a reduction as much as it is a relation between the field and the, anyway, is that what we can do is we can take a system that is defined by some set of degrees of freedom, and we can take those degrees of freedom and reduce them even further to different degrees of freedom. Once you've gotten to elementary particles, or you might say quantum fields, there are no more degrees of freedom to which you can reduce it, which is why physicists believe that quantum fields are at least one of the most fundamental things in reality. You can't go down, quote unquote, any further than that, is because there simply are no more degrees of freedom that which you can use to define the state of a quantum field. Like you can use the degrees of freedom in a quantum field to define the state of an elementary particle, use the degrees of freedom of a collection of elementary particles to define, say, a proton or a neutron, and then continue building up in scale from there. And that is why we call them elementary particles.
Yeah, and that is why we call the four fundamental forces fundamental, because that is sort of the reduction down. There's not smaller things that those are made out of, and it's not going to be intuitive or straightforward to describe. There does not exist an easily understood layperson's explanation. If there was, physics wouldn't be hard.
Exactly. You wouldn't need quite abstract mathematics to try to explain these things. But quickly, I want to, just because I use the phrase quite frequently, define what physicists mean by degrees of freedom. This is going to be a little bit simple, but I think it still captures the picture. The degrees of freedom of a state or a system are just the numbers that characterize the state of that system, or that state and what's going on.
For a single point particle moving just out in the world that you and I see and experience, you have the position, which has 3 coordinates, x, y, and z, and then you also have the velocity, or the momentum. And for a point particle that doesn't have any internal structure, you can't give any more information. It has to be electrically neutral and things like that. But yeah, that's what we mean. If it's several of them, then it can also spin, for example, and then that's another degree of freedom. But it just means how many numbers that you need to describe the actual thing. Anyway, we're only 30 seconds in. I'm so sorry, Maya.
You are, and that was some good jacking each other off there. 61 people came to watch it, and hit that like button. Come on now.
Don't just hit the like button. Take it on a date, wine and dine it, and take it home and smash that like button. That's what I'm talking about. You know, yeah. Take that thumb on there, sit on it, and
Jake, insert clever dapper inside joke here. Nelson gifted us 5 more cultists, and those went to Doc Osiris, Leo Phileas, friend of the show, on the show. What the fuck? T-Gram, KZ Count 1, and your mom just got a membership.
Oh, right. She did? That's so cool, man.
Your mom just got a membership. And
it's very tasty.
Magnetology. Fucking magnets. How do they work?
We don't talk about that here, Leo.
And that means your mom got some goddamn nitties, tapioca weasels, and vaginas.
Some big
Hey, welcome to the fold.
Do your nids hang low?
Hydrogen wouldn't exist at all. In either case, life as we know it wouldn't be possible. Even the energy in empty space seems precisely set to allow intelligent life to develop. But that's not the whole story.
It's not the story at all. It's not about life developing. It's about the universe existing. Like if you change these things too much, if you change the cosmological constant too much, you don't get any universe that exists for beyond a few tiny fractions of a second. So if you get over that hurdle, and this is going to come up, to be here asking the question, you had to get over the hurdle. It's just like, yeah, there's probably interesting questions there, but not. I don't like this.
Real quick, Michael Michaels said, I heard a plasma reactor was being built somewhere. Any news or info? Anyone?
No, I don't keep
ITER?
up on stuff like that.
So plasma reactor. I mean, I'm going to assume that you mean a fusion reactor using confined plasma. There are a lot of those that are being sort of built. The big one is called ITER or ITER. International Tokamak. I want to say maybe European research something, but in some other language, probably French. The idea of using nuclear fusion to produce energy has been 20 years away for 80 years or some nonsense.
Well, it's funny because the military
gets
gets to use it for all their submarines and aircraft carriers and everything. Use it incident free since the 50s.
No, fusion, not fission. They don't use fusion.
Nuclear fusion?
In submarines, no, those are all fission powered nuclear subs. Okay. Yeah, nuclear fusion. We do now have over Unity experiments. Advanced Ignition Facility or something at Lawrence Livermore National Lab, where they use an inertial confinement method. Basically, what they do is they take lasers, really powerful lasers, and they shoot them from all directions in a giant room, like that room that Magneto has to go not Magneto, that Professor X has to go and snoop in everybody's brains. They do that, and they zap it all at a little pellet of gold with some hydrogen inside of it. And they have been able to demonstrate more energy coming out of that little source than they put into it for the first time in 2020 or something like that. So there have been big breakthroughs in fusion technology, other than hydrogen bombs, which is not controlled. But it turns out to be really, really, really hard to do, and I'm not holding my breath. But eventually we will figure it out, and we will be able to make power plants where we just put in a whole bunch of heavy hydrogen and get, magic internet juice out.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, Left-Handed Jedi gifted us 5 more cult members, and those went to Ian Shen Official, you TV Tube Me, Jillian, friend of the show, Prixie Purple, and Ember. Oh my God, we got Ember. All right, welcome back, most of you. Please continue to enjoy your tapioca weasels, your nitties and vaginas. And if you're blessed be he, stop being a goddamn bitch.
Yeah, just
behave.
Just because I indulge you by wearing the hat, you're not allowed to call names. This is something that I'm not able to give you permission to misbehave in the chat. Okay? Yeah. So don't. Even if you don't get to call people clowns, even if,
you don't
me, they don't mind it so much.
We don't mind you questioning science. That's how you become engaged with it. That's great.
And we didn't block your first question.
We did not. I need you to not. You can't. You can't name call. Like period. And you can't talk disparagingly about any of the mods, including Goddess Antler.
Oh, you know what I have to say about your mods? All their mothers smell like elderberries.
Blessed be he says the universe seems to be electromechanical. Do you agree or even know what the fuck that is?
In what way are
She doesn't know.
neutrinos electromechanical? And in what way does only an electromechanical explanation describe, for example, neutrinos? There isn't one. You need an additional interaction for neutrinos. It's the weak force, and I think also a little bit maybe of the strong force. Maybe it's all in the weak force.
Also, what is gravity?
It's electromechanical.
Now we're sounding like the flat earthers. It's just electrostatics, man.
She's definitely evangelical. So, I mean, she never asked her about her flat earth view, but it's possible.
Yeah. Where is the?
I know she likes the attention. These are interesting questions, and I know that a certain question she asked, Doc likes to answer.
Mm-hmm.
In total, about 12 parameters have been identified as being just right for life. Think about it.
Plausible.
If any one of these parameters...
But not for life. Again, not for life. For the universe as we know it, which is way more expansive than life.
Parameters were slightly different, life, the stars, and even the universe itself would look drastically different if they existed at all.
That's a better point.
Could this astonishing balance really be chalked up to random chance?
Oh my god.
Maybe!
They said the no words. Right? It's all just random change. What? No, it's not how. That's not how that works.
How does it work?
We don't know yet.
Well, it works at least as far as we can tell, according to what our effective field theories can tell us. That's about it.
I mean, to steelman their point of view, like effective field theories are going to intrinsically be quantum mechanical, and if you want to describe dynamics and quantum mechanics as involving random chance,
that seems weird.
It's weird, but it's not the reason it's problematic is because it gets you into thinking like this. And it's not. The math is very well defined for these questions. We have a theory that it has an exquisitely precise mathematical structure. It is not the fact that you have a stochastic distribution of outcomes given a particular initial condition doesn't necessarily mean that it is random chance. There are people who think that the universe fundamentally is still entirely deterministic. There are people who do not think that.
I am one of them.
I am also one of them. Yeah.
Are we just incredibly lucky to be living in a universe where everything happened to align perfectly? Or is there something deeper, perhaps even intentional, behind this?
That's like asking, are we lucky to live on Earth as opposed to randomly out in the middle of intergalactic space?
Yeah, because that could happen.
So it couldn't, though, is the thing. Which you were clearly setting me up for. Thank you, Maya.
It's softball.
Fine tuning.
Wait. What couldn't happen?
Us, like you and me, having this conversation while we are living, not on Earth or a planet remotely like Earth, but just randomly out at random coordinates in intergalactic space. Like, aren't we lucky that we are living and we're not in the middle of a vacuum? And that's not true. If we were in the middle of a vacuum and still living, we would be much, much luckier in that situation. Because,
well, blessed be he says we live in a simulation, and that seems right.
I don't actually have a strong opinion on the simulation question. I think it is largely besides the point until you provide like physical, observable consequences to such a model.
I've never
What do
seen
we
a
mean by
simulation.
simulation?
She doesn't know.
Oh, well, then I don't know what she's talking about.
She doesn't either. You gotta stop answering her questions with questions. It's no, they don't. They okay. Look, she's a fundy, right? So she's regurgitating talking points.
Oh,
There's
I
no
know. I know
below
what
the
you mean.
surface. So you can't. There's no follow up question. It's just like Ken Hovind said this, so it's true.
Well, you like dogs came from mosquitoes.
Exactly.
Could this suggest that the universe was designed with
What is happening? Why is there this dude?
life in mind? And if so, why is the universe so perfectly fine-tuned for life? Could this incredible precision be a sign of intentional design, or is it simply an astonishing coincidence?
Oh no, he's just asking questions.
It's neither.
Look,
So you know what this reminds me of?
Tucker Carlson.
It reminds me of the question of if you woke up one day and you were a puddle. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're like, well, this fits me very well. This hole, it fits every single nook and cranny of me. This hole must have been designed for me. That's not how puddles work, okay? The hole is not designed for the puddle. The puddle fills in the hole. Thank you, Douglas Adams.
But if there's a God that decided that you, puddle, were going to be in that hole,
Yeah,
then it would be true.
If you drive to work and you record the license plate of every vehicle that you're behind, and then at the end of it, you're like, wow, the odds of me getting that particular combination are astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I didn't have that combination, I would be unable to say that I had that combination. Therefore, God must have meant that I had to be behind exactly those people. Like, something was going to happen. Okay, the fact that it is something that resulted in us being able to like think about it doesn't mean it was inevitable.
Oh wait, we haven't gotten to the part where he said something and put a picture of a person there, so therefore it's true. Keep going.
Well, he put this guy.
No, that's not right.
Okay, fair.
Nobody knows who that guy is.
Oh,
there's got to be somebody we all like while he's saying the thing, and we all like the guy, so therefore the thing the guy's saying, the AI bot is saying, must be true.
I don't remember Nikola Tesla in this video though.
No, Nikola Tesla is not in the video. It's another guy, which is why I can't think of who it is. But we will get there. Let's go.
Oh, is it Michio Kaku?
Oh, it might be.
I think that might have been the other video though.
Could have been.
Are we really special?
You are, and I'm sure your mommy tells you that.
Here on Earth, it's easy to believe we're at the center of everything. After all, humanity has spent millennia thinking we're unique, the pinnacle of life in a universe that seems perfectly designed to support us.
I mean, we are unique in the sense that the set of license plates that you follow is unique. It doesn't mean it's special. But we are special. We're special because we fucking say so.
Hey, that works for me.
Right?
But also, for $2, Jake, insert clapper dino inside joke here. Nelson says, quirks are made of horniness and chocolate. Is it Valentine's Day already? I thought that was next week.
It's in 5
days.
It's
Friday. All right. Yeah. So at least on Friday, I believe that quirks will be filled with horniness and chocolate. Thank you.
See a planet teeming with life, orbiting a stable star in a
That star does
Look
not...
around
hold on.
and see a planet teeming with life orbiting.
That does not look like a stable star. Okay, that looks like a dwarf with a lot of flares going on. Also, these planets totally fucked. Just saying.
Way too close.
Oh,
Way
yeah.
too close. Unless there's some like
Would that even
perspective shit going on, but
could that even happen?
What?
Like a planet forming that close to the
Yeah,
sun?
we
no,
call
it
them.
couldn't.
They do happen. We call them hot Jupiters.
Yeah, but they
That
wouldn't.
close.
That close? No. Like, okay, so assuming that this isn't like way in front of us, and like the star's way back here, and the planet's like way up here, that planet is within a couple of radii of the star. They can't be that close. The tidal forces would rip them apart. The Hill limit and the Roche limit.
Yeah, this is an
are-
animation. I'm talking about stars or planets existing
Yes,
like
they can be very
exceptionally
close.
close to their star.
Sure, I mean, I mean, I don't know that
yes.
they could be much closer than Mercury, though.
They can. I don't know.
I mean, I'm
how
saying-
how much closer, but they.
But but not much closer.
Yeah. They cannot be within 2 radii of the star. They would get the tidal forces would rip them apart. Because
that's my only point.
yeah, and that's totally true. They can be remarkably close, but maybe they can be 10 times closer than Mercury. They can't be 1,000 times closer, I don't think.
A stable star in a galaxy that allows us to thrive, from the precise tilt of the Earth's axis to the perfect balance of oxygen in our atmosphere. It's hard not to feel like the cosmos has somehow arranged itself in our favor.
Do people know that there was life on Earth before there was like an abundance of oxygen in the atmosphere?
Well, and do they know that the immersion of an abundance of oxygen caused the biggest mass extinction in our planet's history?
It's
the
just
Great
funny.
Dying was caused by an oxidization crisis. Because it turns out oxygen is like mostly horrifically poisonous, and we happen to rely on it to live because chemistry. But that took a few billion years to happen.
Yeah.
And it killed everything that worked on the old system.
A little bit, yeah.
But are we really that special? Is life's Earth-supporting environment a cosmic accident, or is there something more intentional behind it? The odds of everything aligning so perfectly for life here in this one small corner of the universe seem almost too good to be true. Is it possible that the universe was tailored not just for life in general, but for life on Earth specifically?
Why would it do that?
Because we're special, Maya.
Oh,
And
yeah,
because-
he said that.
And because
he said that.
it's Yahweh or the highway, okay?
It is true.
Yeah.
These
Is
questions
there
lead us to
anything in
consider.
science or I don't know, anything like even
That
quantum
suggests
physics,
that
anything
we are
that
special.
would no, like that the universe would like just find like would that like it would be fine tuned for us in particular.
No, the universe isn't
No.
fine-tuned for anything at all.
Yeah, no, I'm just like,
yeah, as far as
you
we
like
know,
you
yeah.
like philosophy of science. So like is there anything ever like for any reason why it would do that? Just play devil's advocate with me.
No, there isn't.
A god.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But
Sans God,
Leo is
no?
an evil heathen who doesn't believe God exists. So
That's
you
correct.
can't
Well,
trust him.
Yeah, Leo suppresses the truth in his unrighteousness.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm highly
Oh.
righteous.
Same.
Well, you are our queen goddess.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So obviously.
Consider whether the delicate balance we observe across the cosmos is a result of pure luck, or if we're part of a larger, purposeful design. And if Earth is so special, then what does that say about the rest of the universe?
Earth isn't so special. The best lines of evidence that have since been ruled out, okay, that may have suggested at one point, based on very incomplete data, which, again, I want to emphasize, has been ruled out now, would be things like quantized redshift. There was a time when, based on the very limited data, it kind of seemed a little bit like there might be a structure to the universe of concentric rings that were centered more or less on Earth. And by on Earth, I mean on anything vaguely near us, including Andromeda, which is way far away. They took more data. Turns out that that structure of like shells around Earth doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. We checked. We looked. We checked. We have no experimental evidence against what is called the Copernican principle. The Copernican principle is a principle, a heuristic, a starting point where we say that our position in the cosmos, in the universe, is not fundamentally or intrinsically special. And therefore that you expect a certain amount of uniformity. It is an assumption in the sense that, like, yeah, like every modern cosmological theories, basically, if it doesn't give you that, then they're not taken very seriously, because we have no evidence against it. We have no reason to suspect that the position of the Earth or the Milky Way is special in any way. Yeah.
Is it possible that similar conditions could exist elsewhere?
Yes.
Or are we truly alone in this vast expanse?
Probably not.
Okay, I've been asking a lot of questions without...
Wait, Leo hasn't talked in a while. He's got to be like ready to explode. You have anything to say to that?
I mean, I just don't believe that physical reality is fine-tuned. I don't think that most physicists do. Our physical theories about reality are fine-tuned, but then it's obvious who did the fine-tuning. We did.
Wait, where did he go? Doc?
Maybe he had to go to the bathroom.
I guess. All right, well, we have a problem of dead air. So you're going to have to, like, say words and shit.
Are there any questions from the audience? That always helps. Oh, my God.
Well, someone, oh, blessed be he, wants to know if you think the universe is finite or infinite.
In what sense?
Spatially.
I don't know.
Well,
What do you
okay, yeah,
think?
but
Do you have any thoughts?
gun to your head, you had to choose one. Which would you choose?
I wouldn't, because I don't know.
Okay, then you would die.
Oh, well, then I'm dead. I
Okay,
can't
well,
choose it.
I would choose infinite
Come
because
on.
I don't want to die. Like, this is... I would choose infinite because it seems more parsimonious. It seems like for it to not be infinite, you have to have a symmetry breaker somewhere, and we don't have any evidence of a symmetry breaker anywhere. But it may
don't
not
know.
be.
I mean, to me, and I'm totally not qualified to answer this question, but kind of seems like it's at any kind of like, you know how words, like there's an infinite amount of possibilities, but at any one point in time, like if I was just like now, right now, like February 9th at 10:27 p.m. or 10:27 p.m. EST, how many words are there? I could give you ostensibly, I could give you a number of current words that are neither that are all in usage right now. But I couldn't give you a number of all the words that there will ever be, obviously. And it's kind of like the universe. It's like, okay, well, it seems infinite, but clearly, like, there's something that we're missing that...
A lot of it depends on the geometry of the universe, and
Sure.
we're still not entirely sure what that is. So
you're right. It could be finite, but then it would have to like wrap around on itself. And so far the evidence seems to suggest that the universe is flat,
Right.
which means it doesn't wrap around itself. Fundamentally, what that means, like when we say the universe is flat, that means that if we choose 3 points, just random points in like the big scale of the universe, and make a triangle, that the interior angles of that triangle will add up to 180 degrees, which is not a particularly intuitively helpful statement. So, but I added it for, completeness.
It's so funny. I almost did an electric universe vid tonight.
Oh, it would have been pretty good. Yeah.
Giving answers, but let's take a moment to explore one line of reasoning that physicists often turn to when grappling with the universe's fine-tuning. Most physicists now argue that, in some sense, the universe could not have been otherwise. This idea has given rise to...
So, whenever you say most physicists argue,
you're probably wrong.
You're probably wrong. And I'm an atomic physicist. I'm an experimental atomic physicist. I have never published a single paper remotely touching on the issue of if the fundamental constants that if they were different, the universe would have looked very different if they could be different. I've never thought about that professionally. Most physicists don't, because most physicists are not cosmologists. But even if you were to limit yourself to that, I'm not. I think most physicists would say we don't know. I think.
Several different answers, collectively known as the anthropic principles. At its core, the anthropic principle suggests that the universe must have the properties it does, because if it didn't, we wouldn't be here to observe it. In other words, the universe appears fine-tuned for life because only in a universe that allows life would intelligent beings exist to ask these questions in the first place.
Yeah, but no physicist argues that because of that somehow necessitates the way that the universe is.
Yeah. A priori necessitates it. It necessitates it now. Like it is impossible for us to observe a universe that would preclude our existence.
Oh,
that is impossible. Just like it is impossible for you to observe right now a universe that precludes you being able to observe it. The anthropic principle has been the sort of underlying kind of idea through a lot of this video so far, and it is just that. Isn't it interesting that we are in an area where we're able to observe that this is what we see? Well, if we weren't, then we'd be dead, or we wouldn't have existed at all, and we wouldn't. So it's kind of true, but trivially.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to use the anthropic principle, maybe impossible, to use the anthropic principle to help you make models of how physics works. Other than if you have a model of how physics works and that model does not allow anything that allows us to exist, then your model is wrong. But that's not so much the anthropic principle as it is that you just have data that says your model is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
For $2, Jake, insert clever dapper inside joke here. Nelson says, can't find the emoji, but Tap loves magnets. These are facts.
These are not facts!
Thank you, Jake.
Why are you like this?
You said that like you're an angry German. These are not facts!
These are not facts!
He just gets so excited whenever he hears about magnets. Can't help himself.
It's a fight or I can't even say it. Fight or flight response.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, Elon has tried to make that excuse. I didn't believe him either.
Don't put me. Hold on.
Sorry, that was.
Did I do a weird thing with my right hand?
I'm just being a bitch. Please forgive me.
It's a bit of circular logic, but it's one way to
the anthropic principle is something where you do need to be careful about how you're leading it, you're using it in your reasoning.
You know what? I haven't looked at. Can you remind me what that is? I
So
haven't looked into it in like 5 years.
the anthropic principle is the observation that for us to be observing the situation that we are in, it has to be physically possible for the situation that we are in to happen.
Okay.
Like, for you to be sitting here and talking to me, you need to be in a room that has air so that the like your voice can get to the microphone.
Okay.
We need to have an infrastructure so that
Mhm.
you can talk to me. All of those things need to be true.
Right.
But
Obviously. But
what do you do with that? It's true, but how to use it in reasoning about the physical world is something that you should be careful with, because if you're like, okay, well, obviously this was the only thing that was possible, it's not. It's totally possible for you to be physically in a position where there is no air. Okay? You could be out in the middle of space. You could be underneath the knee of a Minneapolis cop. There are all sorts of places you could be without air.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean that it is physically required that your house exists.
Okay, sure.
So the
So that's what
anthropic
you mean is
principle.
like, okay, yeah, well, I need to be in somewhere with electricity to have,
Yes.
this
Mm-hmm.
conversation. But it doesn't have to be my house or even a house.
No.
Just yeah,
Exact.
so you have to be careful with,
Yeah.
Maya's streaming, therefore she's home.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I see what you're
And if
saying.
you say, like, Maya streaming, therefore it has to be possible for Maya to stream, yes, that is
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
But is it helpful? Like, what does that get you? Like,
Right, right.
it 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 may not be nothing. It may get you something, but
I yeah, I
it doesn't mean that the
in
universe was
and of
fine-tuned.
itself, it's just like, well, I mean, if we're talking about like a criminal case, yeah, then it depends on what your definition of is, right? But in science, so many things are already accepted beforehand. Um, I'm struggling to figure out why it's necessary.
What's
Why
necessary?
what is necessary? For the universe to be exactly the way it is not. Other than we observe it to be exactly the way it is. So,
So
like,
we were
but
talking about
again,
the
that's a
anthropic
trivial
principle.
statement.
We were
Yeah.
talking about the anthropic principle and like the need for things to be being careful about I guess what do you call it? Saying that because this is true, that means something else is true.
Yeah. So the anthropic principle that where you have to be careful, I think, is this is true. Therefore, every single detail that led to this being true had to be true. In Douglas Adams' parable or analogy of the puddle has a particular like contour. It didn't have to have that contour, but like maybe it needs to have like space needs to exist, gravity needs to exist, water might need to exist. Maybe that can be helpful for you in that way, but it doesn't mean that it had to be fine tuned for you. And it is very difficult to use it to actually conclude anything useful and predictive about the world. Science is about trying to explain the universe, and by explain, we mean provide like a model that then you can use to say more than you already know to some extent. That's what do you think, Leo? Did I
I mean, I agree.
Yeah. The question is, does the fact so Defreak asked what is the question here? The question is, does the fact that we see a universe that is able to produce us mean that we are special, or that the universe had to produce us? And I would say definitively no, it does not mean that, other than in the sense that, like, it wouldn't be possible for us to exist and for us to observe it. But it would be possible for us to not exist and for us to not observe us not existing. So
Explain why the universe seems so
and like the version of this podcast where we all have where Leo and Maya and myself all have two heads and are talking and are also in this universe that we already have, that doesn't exist. So, like, yeah, that's impossible, but not
Unless we're
because it's
hiding our
impossible for us
second
to
head.
have two heads. It's just because, look at your screen, we don't have two heads. If you're thinking that I'm saying circular things that don't actually add anything, you are right. That is my point. My point is that what they are thinking is profound isn't. It is trivial.
Okay, yeah, I can agree
perfectly
with
suited
that. Yeah, go ahead.
for life. Let me break down what I just said for you in case you're a bit confused. The
I'm not.
anthropic principle is basically saying that the universe seems perfectly set up for life because, well, if it weren't, we wouldn't be here to notice it. It's a bit like
I wouldn't use the word perfectly. If you take out the word
Same.
perfectly, then I have way fewer complaints about what he just said. The word perfectly is doing a lot of work there, and it's bullshit. Because if it was perfectly set up for life, then if you stuck me out in the middle of intergalactic space, I would thrive there too.
Yep. Predation wouldn't exist in a universe perfectly designed for life, it seems.
Yeah.
looking at the world through a pair of glasses that are perfectly shaped for your eyes. Of course, the world looks clear because you're wearing the glasses that make it possible to see it that way. Here's a simple analogy for you to get it. Imagine you're at a party and there's a giant birthday cake in the middle of the room. The cake just happens to be exactly your favorite flavor, with all your favorite toppings. It seems like it was made specifically for you, but maybe it's not that the cake was baked just for you. Maybe you're at this particular party because you were invited to a place where your favorite cake happened to be served.
That was a terrible analogy. That didn't explain anything. Nothing about that, like, was helpful at all.
Not even remotely. Imagine you're at a party and there's this cake.
But I mean, the way he's describing it is in line with his fine tuning presupposition.
I think that the best way to summarize the anthropic principle was the way that Vandy put it, and that's just to say that we couldn't observe a universe that precluded our existence.
Yes. Yes. And it's not useless. Again, if you have a model of the universe, if you're a physicist and you have a model of the universe and that universe does preclude our existence, then your model is incorrect. It may still be totally useful and worth publishing. Go for it. I have no problem with that. But it is not correct. If it was correct in every level, then you would have solved physics, and I would be very upset with you because
I'd be out of a job.
I'd be out of a job. It'd be very boring.
I'd be out of a hobby.
Yeah, there, right, exactly. But I mean, we always have OnlyFans, right? So you know,
physics is
Only
hard.
physics.
Stand erect with your back straight.
Yep.
In the same way, the anthropic principle suggests that the universe isn't necessarily designed for us, but that we exist because we live in a
Guys,
universe.
real quick, I need to refill my margarita because goddamn. Also, question: do you think we will be able to see past our own universe in your lifetime? Please answer as well as Leo.
I would say that if we could, unless we stumble across another useful, well-defined definition of universe that would not include everything that we see, then the question intrinsically, the premise is impossible. If we observe it, it would be in our universe. I can imagine ways in which you might argue against that. David Deutsch thinks that there are certain details about how quantum mechanics works and interference like experiments in quantum mechanics that show the effects of other universes in the Everettian interpretation. I think that
Oh, he
that's
doesn't
mostly a
understand. He
wordplay.
doesn't understand the Everettian interpretation.
So David
Unless
Deutsch, I think it's that what he's describing about like our universe, I think most people would say that our universe is by definition would preclude those other things. But David Deutsch is somebody that should be taken seriously.
no, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a really great thinker. I don't agree with him on that, but I don't think I would be able to steelman his perspective enough that he would agree with it. And because of that fact, I'm not going to say that I disagree with him.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But he has sort of a flavor of understanding the Everettian interpretation, which is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, that is atypical, but he is a very legitimate. Where's he at? Is he at Oxford? No,
I can't remember.
He's in the UK somewhere. Great book. He wrote The Fabric of Reality and The Beginning of Infinity: Explanations That Transform the World. One amazing book.
Universe.
Sorry.
My answer to that question would be would be an explicit no, because I take a universe to mean the totality of extant physical reality. So if we discover that what we call our universe is just, I don't know, say uniformly expanding pocket of true vacuum nested in a metastable inflationary metaspace or something like that, then that entire metaspace is the universe. So but for me it's sort of like
it's a
necessitated by my metaphysics that whatever the universe is, there's no such thing as an outside of or a before or an external to that structure. Those terms make no sense, like saying north of the North Pole. That's incoherent.
No, it's interesting because I never really thought about it, so Leo said it right now, but that is kind of like what I've ultimately thought of the universe as. The only thing I would think of is like if we could somehow figure out that we're pushing up against another universe, like then maybe. But
you would have to come up with a specific definition that delineates between that, because at that point you're seeing effects from that other thing. If you're seeing effects from the other thing, then that thing is in the universe. That is what I mean by universe. That's what Leo means by universe. That's what people mean by universe.
I do want to justify why I think that way. So when we discovered that we live in a solar system and there's planets beyond ours, we just accepted that planets are other structures in our universe. When we discovered that there's solar systems other than ours, we just accepted that solar systems are structures within the universe. When we discovered that galaxies and that there are other galaxies out there, those were just
island universes for a hot second.
But they're just another structure in the universe. And galaxy clusters, superclusters, we keep going up and they're just bigger structures within the universe. And I don't think that if we discovered that there was some other quote unquote universe outside of ours, that would just be another structure in the universe. Like it wouldn't somehow become another universe. I don't see where that line, because then why don't we draw that line at galaxies and make galaxies other universes? What discriminates where the line should be drawn?
Okay, so that's kind of my thing. Is like we'd have to define universe, and then say, okay, this is ours and this is a different one. I'm saying that's the only way that I would think of something.
And
like
that
universe
wasn't within the universe. Everything is the
and then metaverse described the thing that all the pocket universes are nested in, then to me, the metaverse would just be the universe.
Okay.
And that is exactly like the only person that I can think of off the top of my head who goes anywhere towards actually delineating that in a way that kind of vaguely makes sense. would be again David Deutsch, because he does think of the multiverse then as having, separate basically branches of the wave function, and then how those like interact with each other. And it but I would probably say those are still in our universe by definition. If it's something that affects us, if it is something that can causally influence us, well, at that point, it's not just in our universe; it's in our observable universe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
John Fapiano says, oh, okay, I'm strictly asking about looking past 13.8 billion years.
Oh, we've done that. We've looked past that. It's you got to use non-light means in order to do that. Otherwise, you hit a surface. There's a surface in the past that if you use the electromagnetic radiation to look into the past, at about 13.8 billion years, you will hit a surface known as the surface of last scattering. And that was when photons were first emitted, such that they could free stream through the vacuum of space and be
how long
seen.
ago would that
And
be?
those photons can even be measured yet to this day. We call that the cosmic microwave background. But we've seen beyond,
so
17 billion. We know that there's structures that are much further out than 13.8 billion light years.
That becomes a little bit tricky in you need to be careful about exactly what you mean, because the surface of last scattering is further than 13.8 billion light years away, because the universe has expanded in the interim. Photons traveled, and then the space behind them that they had already traveled over expanded. So there is a surface of last causality, which, if we ignore the whole recombination event and the fact that before, I believe it 175,000 years old was when the universe did its surface of last scattering. So it's a question of 13.
380,000.
380,000. Okay, yep. Yeah. I wasn't sure about that first digit. It becomes a question about 13.8 versus like 13.5, but that 13.8 number is, if you had a clock that was just sitting and counting time, what is the furthest back that clock would go before it, was incinerated by the beginning of the universe? It would be 13.8. If you look at, if your question is, how far is the farthest thing that we can see? It's way further than 13.8.
Much further.
And that becomes, and that's the reason that's not contradictory, is because space itself is a dynamic thing that is very well described by the equations of general relativity. And so you need to be very specific. And when you are this specific, physicists often have very specific answers, and occasionally the answer is we don't know. We don't have a thing that makes sense for that. But it's not gonna be easy.
So, right-handed Sith got here, and I was telling everybody, it was a whole hour ago, that I hope you're not mad, but I had to, because everybody is I don't know, YouTube's being YouTubey. I had to combine your what do you call it? Your emojis. So now you and Jedi get to duke it out real life in my chat here. It's lightsabers. And also Math Pig wants to know, Tapioca Weasel, is that a real secret lab chair?
Yeah, it is. I love this chair. It is a fantastic chair. I've had it for 5 years now, and it's great. It's a Secret Lab Titan. I gotta actually put some WD-40 in its like joints, because
no one cares.
Yeah. Well, apparently Math Pig cares.
He just wanted to know about the chair. He didn't want to know about how old it was, or like how many wrinkles it has, or how often you fuck it.
You have no idea
The play button. God damn it.
Oh, what?
That just happens to have the right ingredients for life. This doesn't necessarily mean the universe was custom made for us, but it does explain why it looks so perfectly tuned for life. Because if it weren't,
This guy
we
is
wouldn't
perfectly tuned for life. For life. I love making fun of British people doing it.
So fun fact.
You gotta stop doing that. We have a lot of Brits that watch this.
Boy, ain't gonna stop doing nothing, innit?
You know, it's okay to switch to water. We won't be mad at you.
Water? I don't need no bottle of water.
I used to make friends. You know what? I'm gonna get yelled at by Maya later if I say that, so I'm not going to.
around to notice it. There are different versions of the anthropic principle. The weak anthropic principle simply states that the universe's conditions must allow for our existence.
That is true. If you don't think that that's true, something has gone wrong in your reasoning.
One of these things is not like the other.
Which is why they appear fine-tuned. But then there's the strong anthropic principle, which goes a step further by suggesting that the universe had to develop in such a way that life, and perhaps intelligent life, would eventually arise. This version implies that life is not just a cosmic fluke, but a built-in feature of the universe.
Does it imply that?
But these ideas
built in.
She'll kick you off. She will do it, trust me.
Raise even more questions. If the universe had no choice but to be life-friendly, why? Is there some underlying law that demands life?
What if it is? But it's just a brute contingency that it is. So there is no why. It just is.
Yeah, so physicists don't like to think about brute facts because it kind of stops inquiry beyond that point. So, like, the idea of what a brute fact is something I've never really, like, thought about. So, what is a brute fact? Is just like a thing that is true with no explanation, right?
I prefer the term brute contingency just because I think it kind of captures which brute fact would fall under that. So first, we have to understand what in metaphysics what it means for something to be contingent, and that's just to say that it could have been otherwise. So I'm wearing a gray shirt. It probably looks black, but it's that dark gray. That's contingent. I could have been wearing a blue or a red.
I thought contingent meant it depended on something.
That's one meaning of contingent. That's not what most metaphysicians mean when they talk about things being contingent. Where contingent is seen as being in contrast with necessary, where if something's necessary, it could not have been otherwise. Whereas if something's contingent, it could have been otherwise. And so if something's brutally contingent, like I think the universe is, it could have been different. So the universe could have not existed, but it does exist. And like you said, there just is no explanation. Now, the thing with brute contingencies is I think that if they exist, and I do think they do, they exist at the bottom, quote unquote, at the fundamental level, that at some point your explanations are just going to ground out somewhere. There's going to be a place where there's nothing further to appeal to in order to get an explanation. That's just it is that way. And that's just that. Like what somebody might ask, why do quantum fields exist? I don't think there's a why. They do.
Yeah, but most physicists do not spend their time thinking about it, but some do,
and they may find an answer.
Exactly, and if they do,
then it wasn't a brute contingency.
Exactly, and that is why, like, you'll never find a physicist that I will endorse on this particular question say that there are some things that are just not at all worth investigating in like, you know, theoretical if they're trying to investigate if karyology is correct, that's not worth investigating. So, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like, my point is that because there was a time when both quantum mechanics and general relativity would have just seemed a priori totally absurd and complete nonsense and not worth thinking about at all.
Some people still think that.
Some people do still think that. My favorite example of this is the spot of Arago, or the Poisson spot. And that is in classical electromagnetism, if you have a circular obstruction, like a disk, and you have light going past it, then the equations predict that you will have right behind that thing, you have to go out a few like centimeters or radius or whatever, you're going to see a bright spot that is directly in the shadow of this object. It predicts a bright spot directly in the shadow. And this guy did his thesis, Poisson. I think Poisson did the thesis and predicted this, and his thesis committee was like, that's absurd, I'm failing you. And another person on the thesis committee was like, well, did you check? And they checked, and it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it made no sense to them, except for in this model it did. It did work.
Hey, Vandy, quick question for you. How good would it feel to like present something to physicists and they say, no, and then you show them it and you just get to go. And you just get to stare at them with that look like, yeah, what? What?
Oh my God.
God, that's got to be the greatest fucking feeling in the world, especially with the physicists, because they're just a lot of them are just conservative fucks. Like,
I've never done
some
that.
new theory came out. It's wrong. It's wrong because it's just wrong. It's completely fucking wrong.
I've never done that.
Ask questions like that on stream. The reaction is always against TOS.
I've never done that like on a big scale, but I have done that on specific things. There was one time when the senior grad student was having a very like, he was aligning a thing and it wasn't working. He was like, this is going wrong. And he had been working on it for 3 days, and he was like, okay, I'm going to ask the other grad students. And I was the junior grad student. And he was like, hey, Vandy, do you, what do you think? And I'm like, well, how tightly did you screw down that one mirror? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, let's try and loosen that, because you could have tightened it enough that it warped the thing, and that made the beam very astigmatic afterwards. And he was like, there is no way that is true. And I was fucking right. And I felt, and he... It was.
Then I splooged in my pants.
I'm really good at aligning lasers, you guys. I have a PhD mostly in aligning lasers.
Just tell me you have a PhD in lasers.
Also, Dr. T gifted himself 5 more cult members. Some good aim here. And that went to Crafty, Holy Spackle, Daryl Frost, Antarctic Fox, and Infallible Fowl. So welcome back, new cult member. Well, welcome back, cult members. Please continue to enjoy your tapioca weasels, your nitties and vaginas. And I was thinking, since we have some new people here, can I show them the video again? That it was fun to me.
Yeah.
Cool.
These two just off in their own world, jacking each other off.
I knew what I was signing up for when the chat said bring on Leo.
Yeah, so Leo, you and I should start an OnlyFans, is what I'm saying.
Only physics?
that works.
Observer exists.
I think we'd actually probably make, like, just teaching physics naked and erect in front of a camera. Not touching each other, just full buck ass naked. Fully stiff.
Bucket naked.
Going over incline
in the nude. Someone help me.
Dude, like, actually, though, that could be hilarious.
I actually think we'd probably make some money.
Okay. Mine's literally going to, like...
Wait, help me. I don't know how I got here.
Like the old Greeks.
Like, is there a door or a black hole? For fuck's sake.
MIT doesn't give their lectures in black hole thermodynamics completely naked and fully erect. We do things differently here. At Only Physics.
The world will be self-supervised.
Stimulating your mind.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry,
need to
I
like
can't
upgrade
stop.
to vodka because like this wine is just not hitting it.
Andrew's reading your mind there, Maya. It's like, please, Rogue Black Hole 2024. That's what I'm voting for.
Road, black hole, asteroid, it's like something. Impending lightning bolt. I'll take anything. You two are fun.
It's not
I didn't know
only
you meant
physics.
that video.
Just for the new people, it's no longer being called only physics. Since we're fully erect, we're calling it physics is hard.
Oh, God. Please don't fire me.
And at the end of it, we're both going to say, and remember, folks, just like us, as you can see, physics is hard. I actually think that we would make money. Like
We would
I-
absolutely make
probably
money.
a lot of fucking money if we did something like that. And every physicist would just be banging their head on their fucking.
Oh my God. Okay, well, if I'm looking for a job in the next year, which I mean, my contract is not eternal. We should talk, Leo.
Or are we just incredibly fortunate that everything lies
Covering general relativity, Peyronie's disease might come up because we talk about curves, you know, in general relativity. So if your dick is curved, it's just probably got more mass to it, and that's
Oh my God.
why it's curved more.
My God.
So, Kip Davis may.
Both Leo and the Weasel have
and
hard
the
no.
Weasel. So everybody
That's
should go and everybody should go to Myth Vision's channel, Derek from Myth Vision, on Friday. They had a stream because our good, wonderful friend Kip Davis on the show last week was doing a fundraising stream because, you know, he's gotta like get those nice good cameras and stuff for his OnlyFans that he's starting. And we did a whole stream. Maya was on there for a little bit, and then she left because I was going to be on there, and she didn't want to hang out with me more than, you know, once a week. Great stream. So go and support Kip Davis's stream over on Myth Vision's channel.
Doesn't Kip also have his own channel?
Yeah, he does, but
Kip indeed
I
does.
was specifically shilling also that one thing because I'm dumb.
Oh, and also, so I just, if anyone wants to play bingo, I did pin the cards to the top of the chat, and then we do have people. I know Al's not here, but we do have people that are calling the cards tonight. So have
I
fun.
think we do. Yeah.
lined up so perfectly? And if life was an inevitable outcome, does that point to design or just the natural progression of physics? Most physicists have no time for ideas like this. To say that this is
I
Wait,
make
wait,
2.5
hold
to
up.
3 hours a week of time for ideas
up.
like this every week.
When he says physicists have no time for this, is he saying that physicists move at the speed of light?
I mean, we all move at the speed of light through time.
I mean, yeah. Well, relative to the Earth, we do.
Well,
Because
the
we're
speed
stationary relative to the Earth. But relative to the sun, we're not stationary.
That's true.
I love that.
I mean, we're not stationary relative to the Earth either, right? We're accelerating still.
Okay.
Only things
You
that
know
are in
what,
free
you
fall are
motherfucker?
stationary. Yeah, I'm not wrong. And you
That's
know
the
I'm not
fucking-
wrong.
That's
This
the
is
fucking problem.
this is why Leo hates hanging out with me, because sometimes I have a point and nobody else ever convinces him.
Like, but wait,
that
we're
he
not
is wrong.
stationary. We're technically
No.
accelerating.
Oh my God. You should
It was
see
my-
the videos of Leo like just doubling down with his foot on somebody's neck. Like, holy shit.
is all for us? That is just completely bizarre, they might argue.
Maya,
Sir.
do you hate me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Why do you ask?
do you hate me enough to risk me not coming back on the show? Because you still have the damn magnet as the icon for the memberships.
So
wrong
Jason
with that?
Jacoby actually
Magnets are
gifted
great,
us
right?
5 more cult members, and that went to Team O&B, Palm Dad, Ryan Donovan, Mountain, Ilias fake name. Actually, absolutely everybody, but who is aiming for her, which is Vandalia, who is still memberless, but
Did you, well, at least Gillian got one so far.
welcome new members. Please enjoy your tapioca weasels, your nitties and vaginas.
After all, the universe is vast and we occupy only a tiny, insignificant part of it. To think that the entire cosmos, filled with billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars, exists solely to make life possible on this one small planet sounds to many incredibly self-centered.
Yes?
Yeah, it does.
They'll point out that much of the universe is inhospitable to life. Most of space is either freezing cold or blazing hot, bombarded by radiation and filled with vacuums where life as we know it would instantly perish.
I made this point earlier.
If the universe were designed for us, they argue, it doesn't seem to have done a very efficient job.
Leo made this point earlier.
Whoa.
But even so, the fact remains that life
Is this like the 3rd or 4th time they've used this particular clip?
Probably.
Something like that. Yeah.
does exist against all odds.
Pretty cool clip, not gonna lie. Although,
I mean,
Guy really wants to be a Jesus statue, I think.
I'm just saying though.
don't we all?
No.
And that raises questions.
Speak
No,
for
I
yourself.
That are hard to ignore. Perhaps then it is the other way around. According to another formulation of the anthropic principle, the universe only exists because we do. We conjure it up with our consciousness. In this view, it's not that the universe is fine-tuned to allow for our existence, but rather that our existence as conscious beings somehow brings the universe into being.
Oh,
This
fucking
is
idealism.
way out of my wheelhouse. Physics does not talk about this. This is not physics at all. This is
idealism.
charitably
That's what it's about.
metaphysics.
I totally tuned out. What did he say?
He said, "Oh, but maybe our consciousness makes the universe." And
It's
that's
an AI
just
voice, by the way,
idealism.
Maya, so it's okay. I mean, maybe it's not okay, but
Wait, let me hear the
What isn't
sentence.
okay? What isn't what?
Can you
what?
go back like 5 seconds? I wanted to hear the sentence.
It's not that the universe is fine-tuned to allow for our existence, but rather that our existence as conscious beings somehow brings the universe into being.
so there's an order of operations issue here.
Hard no.
Although, if your concept of time is also contingent on consciousness, then the order of operations becomes a lot less straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
I
This
hear
idea-
you, but I'm still
Well,
gonna
yeah, but do
say
you hear me
no.
because I'm speaking and those words
No, because I'm
exist?
fucking
Or-
conscious.
Exactly. Maya, only one person exists, and it's you, the queen goddess.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
this is all
I exist.
hard
Hey,
solipsism.
where are my
but this is
peas? Where are my peas?
superposition of hard solve.
Solipsist unite.
No.
Idea flips everything on its head. Instead of the universe giving rise to us, we, through our ability to observe, think, and experience, might be giving rise to the universe itself.
Oh shit!
damn
It's
I
a
know where
radical
this is gonna go. I think I do.
All right.
shift in perspective that some physicists and philosophers have toyed with. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Paul,
Right. Can I just? I don't know what he's gonna say, but I'd like to.
I think we should have a poll, though. On the
What are we pulling? Because goddamn, most of you bastards are not playing bingo. What the fuck?
You got to play the bingo.
Yeah.
Play the bingo. Also, I don't know where we're at, but I'm gonna give keys if keys need to be given. I see
If he
that
said
the 2 point already happened.
I don't like this isn't a cyclical thing. It's not what is like the chicken and what was the egg, consciousness or the universe. you need a brain. So there needs to be a universe with. There needs to be somebody inside of a universe to make. I mean, if in fact there is a universe maker, like you would
I
still
got
need a
bingo.
universe first. Oh, look at you!
I got bingo. Woo! On the
Yeah,
diagonal. Fantastic.
fine
Oh,
tune.
look, you got a Yahtzee. That's so cool.
I'm so special. That's not how bingo works. I hate you so much. Our OnlyFans is canceled. It's not really that we make way too much money.
Yeah, you would just capitalism all over that thing. But I mean, I don't know. I don't even know why you would. I mean, okay, so we're gonna have the dualism. Is it dualism?
Idealism.
Yes. Yeah, we're like, oh
Where
my god,
consciousness creates reality, or consciousness precedes matter rather than the other way around.
is that what it's called? Idealism.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, the whole thing where like consciousness is outside of the mind, but for whatever reason, I don't know, souls just like to be in the brain and
Who
never
knows?
touched because like the soul apparently really hates being touched because you just fuck up the whole thing touching the brain.
It's not
I don't.
it's not in the brain. It's just
It's got to be in the
correlated
brain.
with the brain. Correlation does not equal causation, Maya.
It would have to, like, the soul would have to be in the brain because it's the only, like, whatever, like, whenever somebody is talking about a soul or what it does, when you fuck with the brain, you fuck with whatever the function of the soul is. I mean, in almost every circumstance.
Word.
It's funny how neuroscience has effectively empirically demonstrated that the mind is physical, and we have people out here still believing in souls.
Correlation does not equal causation.
Yeah, but causation demands correlation.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's right there.
In this case, it's more like if no one is there to observe the universe, does it even exist? This version of the
Doesn't matter.
Well,
I mean,
not from a human standpoint, but I mean, like, it was
Experientially, it doesn't. But
objectively there before we got here.
I just don't care about the answer because
I mean, I
the
get
question,
that, but it doesn't make there not be an answer.
Their point is that it does make there not be an answer.
There was no universe before there was consciousness. I'm gonna have to hard disagree on that because I don't know. There are people in my field who have a better handle on this on behavior psychology. I don't get into cognitive, but it's not my wheelhouse, right? And it's squarely, well, I'll say squarely. Yeah, it is squarely in yours.
I would say this is more squarely in Leo's because I shut up and calculate, okay?
it sounds like
But I mean, okay, yeah, but everything
squarely.
that you deal with has to be there, regardless of whether there are conscious beings, right? Your ability to interact with them is
this is why, like, so my answer is that I don't care because maybe the answer is no, there has to be conscious beings. There are, and if there aren't, I don't care because I'm not conscious to be there to care.
Why would I think that that's the answer?
I agree with you, but it's it's not a question I feel the need to answer, honestly.
Do you guys
it doesn't add anything.
Do you know what this is?
Do you guys like fat boys?
Fuck.
This is big fat Harry Potter. I did not name him.
Can't just bring adorable shit here and like expect them not to care.
He's a fat ass. He's big boy.
Yeah. Well, goddamn.
Hold on.
Why do you feed him like that?
Oh God! Get his big ass belly in here.
Wait, his name is Harry Potter?
The shit out of you.
Yes, his name is Harry Potter.
That's okay. There's one name for a cat that you're allowed to give and have it be Harry Potter themed, and that's Crookshanks. Okay, and it's not orange, so it can't be Crookshanks.
So don't tell me this. I would not have named him Harry Potter.
That's fair.
If I had named him,
the anthropic
is he the chosen one?
No.
Principle suggests that the universe is not a passive backdrop.
Maya, but you always want to argue some more, and I'm not cut out to argue with you. I always lose.
So does Leo.
And well, I
But
sometimes
me and
root for
Leo
Theo.
founded our entire relationship on arguing with each other and cussing each other out in the chat. And I can't believe I'm agreeing with him more than you right now on
I
whether or
forgot what
not
we
there
were
was a
arguing about.
goddamn universe before there were conscious entities to observe it.
I absolutely agree that there was. I just don't agree that that's an answerable question.
What? What's not an answerable question?
In principle, I don't think that these are things that you could actually rule out. Like, if you say the world works this way, you can make a model that, like, works that way. It doesn't bear any resemblance to any model I know anything to do with.
Jesus
But,
Christ.
like, maybe consciousness is fundamental. I don't think so.
Give me just about like 30 seconds here.
That's all you ever need. Oh, I thought he meant to, like, explain it. No, he just meant to, like, disappoint us, which is the joke I was making. But,
So Deviant Outcast says Maya is the universe. Maya is the universe, and in the center of the universe. Wait. Maya is the universe, and in the center of Maya. Colon kitties.
I have no idea what you just said. Do you want me to press play?
I don't know. Are we waiting for Leo to come back to answer the question, or are we just moving on?
I can't remember what the question was.
All right, let's move on.
That exists independently of us. Instead, it's intimately connected to our consciousness, shaped by the very act of observation. Without us, or beings like us, there would be no universe to speak of. Consciousness is one of those topics
that... Can we disagree on that at least?
Yes, I disagree. Like, I was making a pedantic point, but
yeah.
but I do agree. Like, I don't actually think that without any conscious beings that the universe ceases to exist. I do think that the question doesn't matter anymore in a value sense because, but yes, you and I agree. This is dumb and pointless.
But answerable.
Fundamentally, is anything answerable?
Do we have any evidence that there were conscious beings before the universe? Or
we don't have any evidence against it.
Do we have any reason to believe that the universe is contingent upon conscious beings?
No.
Okay, we can agree on that.
Yes.
Might agree on that other thing you said. I want to disagree with it, but I haven't really thought it through.
You're just upset because I haven't paid you enough.
Being a little witch. You're being a blessed be he right now. I don't appreciate it.
Yes, you do.
Makes everyone uncomfortable. Scientists, philosophers, and just about anyone who dares to question the nature of reality. Why? Because despite all our technological advancements and scientific breakthroughs, we still don't have a clear idea of what
the job of scientists, like the whole job of scientists is to question the nature of reality, but like not in a reality doesn't exist way. That's dumb and pointless. Like, yeah.
What consciousness actually is or where it comes from. It's the elephant in the room, the mystery that science can't seem to crack. We can map the brain and understand its functions, but that still doesn't explain why we experience thoughts, feelings, or self-awareness.
It kind of does.
Who
the fuck said that it doesn't?
How? Well, this is a question of the hard problem of consciousness.
What problem? What is this problem?
You don't arrive at a description of the fact of first-person experience solely from physical phenomena. I don't think you do. Like,
I'm not sure I understand what first-person.
I agree with you that it's. I don't know exactly what it means either, but it doesn't mean something that I'm describing with math. It doesn't.
How do you mean it doesn't mean?
I don't have a
know
good
what it
answer
would
for
mean
you.
to be able to say
You're
what
right.
describes.
You're right, and you're right to criticize that I don't have a good answer for you. But I do think that the hard problem of consciousness, which is what I think he's referring to, is a legitimate problem.
I do not. I don't see where the problem lies. I've never really
Is your
seen.
position similar to Daniel Dennett's position?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know what Dennett's position is. I don't know if mine. I don't think Dennett's a functionalist.
You would know better than I would.
What?
Some argue that consciousness is nothing more than the byproduct of biological processes, a lucky accident of evolution. But what if that's...
I feel like the word "nothing more" is doing a lot of work on many levels.
It's almost as if they designed the language to assume that there's this other thing there, and that like physicalist views are nothing more than the physical stuff and intrinsically leave out this other thing that we've assumed is there. I'm asking, what's the other thing, and why should I assume it's there to begin with? Like, it seems that the way that we've been like culturally built to talk about consciousness is dualistic, that there's the physical stuff that happens and then something else is there. Why should I think that there's a something else at all? I don't,
because none of the language or descriptions work to describe first person experience. I think is the argument.
I think we can describe those. I think people do all the time.
That's fair. I think that I think part of my point is that it is impossible to articulate what that difference is, which is rightfully going to be called out as, kind of a cop-out.
I don't think there's any difference to be described. I think that...
What do you think, Maya?
Yeah, well, you cut Leo off.
Sorry.
That was the poorest sorry I've ever... Oh, shit. Yeah, but I just...
Yeah, all I was... see that shitty grin on his face, too.
Yeah. I was just going to say that... I don't think that consciousness is anything over and above the neurophysiological processes of the nervous system in totality as the body metabolizes. I don't see why I should think that. I don't think we have any good, at least empirical reasons to think that. I don't think there's really any good, like, theoretical or philosophical reasons either.
What do you think, Maya?
It sounds more like philosophy than psychology.
I'm a physicist, Maya. They all start with P's and Y's and H's somewhere in there, okay? Wait, yeah, psychology, you have to wait 5 letters, but it still shows up, the H. Anyway. So, you're still on the hook too, okay? If I have to opine ignorantly about an issue that I don't know anything about, and, open myself up for doing mockery. That.
Hey, Jillian has a kitten named Phoenix.
See, that's a good name for a cat. Harry Potter just... Oh no, it ain't doing it.
Who named the cat?
The kids did. Not my kids. I don't have kids. My niece and nephew.
Gotcha.
Named him fucking Harry Potter. I wanted to name him
that was an awesome name.
Boy cat name for a big doofus cat like him, and that was Max. I wanted to name him Max. Yeah. That was a good name. You guys saw him. He looks like a fucking Max. But no, let's name him Harry Potter.
Well, I mean, it's not the worst name I've ever heard for
No, they could have named him like I don't know,
Mr. Yo-Yo Snickers Jr.
Something like that.
That happened. We did that.
Who's
not the whole story. What if consciousness
It is the whole story. The whole story
like
was
it.
that we named the cat, the hamster, Mr. Yo-Yo Snickers, and then we
That's
named
a
the next
hamster.
hamster Mr. Yo-Yo Snickers Jr.
isn't
I
a
like
mere
a
side
Leon
effect
Kennedy said you could have named him. Sorry, Chunker Supreme. I need a cat
Supreme.
now.
of neurons firing, but something more fundamental. Something that's intertwined with the fabric of the universe itself.
Oh, Jesus fuck.
Here's
here
where
we
things
go.
get controversial. What if consciousness
Here's
isn't
where
produced
things
by
get
the
woo.
Yeah, because it was totally fine and above board before that.
brain at all? What if the brain is simply a receiver or filter, like a radio tuning into a signal that already exists? This idea flips the
Okay, what's
conventional
the
understanding
signal?
of
Show me
There's
the
no
signal.
evidence for that.
Show me the signal.
There's, yeah, exactly. Like if they could show,
How? Okay.
but what
Not my job to tell them how. They're the ones saying it's there. Show it to me.
Well, they're saying what if.
My God.
I'm talking to the people that say, "Oh, but like the brain just picks consciousness up like the radio.
Yeah, dude,
you know,
this is
you
a-
gotta tune in and get the signal. Just show me the signal." Can I tune
consciousness
to
on its
different
head.
levels of consciousness? Is there like a AM consciousness and then a FM consciousness?
Isn't that what weed is for?
And if it is a signal that gets picked up, there's got to be one of them that's NPR because NPR broadcasts fucking everywhere. How do I tune into that and just get like
Is Leo
24-hour
on weed?
NPR, all things considered in my head?
Is Leo what?
Nothing.
Excuse me?
No, you definitely said something.
Oh, on
Up.
weed. It was a joke. It's sorry now.
I do not take
Yes.
drugs, I'll have you know.
head.
Edible.
Instead of the brain creating awareness, it may be that consciousness is a universal force, something that exists independently of physical matter. This
Of course.
What do
Really?
you mean by force, buddy? Like,
Oh, it's a force? Okay, show me the particle. Show me the gauge boson. Simple as that. Where is it? What's it do? What's it look like?
yeah, but those aren't forces either. Don't you know what Newton said about forces? Only definition you're allowed to use.
concept
Apparently.
ties into theories like panpsychism, which
Theories like panpsychism. Fuck yeah.
suggests that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of all matter, down to the smallest particles. In this view, consciousness doesn't just arise in humans or animals.
I do not believe that. There's no reason to believe that. That's silly. You're just adding a thing to explain data that doesn't exist.
It's embedded in everything. The atoms in your body, they possess a form of awareness.
Do they?
Particles that make up the stars, they too have some rudimentary form of consciousness.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
He's
quite a
not really
claim.
Properly summarizing panpsychism. A panpsychist
Panpsychism.
doesn't think that like electrons have emotions or something. A panpsychist would say that there's a what its likeness to being an electron, such that something conscious could experience the world from the perspective of an electron. And so we
This-
would say that there's some level of consciousness or perspective in an electron.
And by the way, that quality is what I mean by, like, it's difficult to explain that. I don't see how that emerges from any...
I don't think that is there.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I don't think that there is a what its likeness to being an electron.
I agree. I don't think that. Yeah,
I do
at all.
think there's a what its likeness to being me, though.
Yeah, because
And-
there's something that's experiencing you.
Yeah,
that
okay,
would be
yeah,
you.
but then you just said you... I feel like you just said that you don't think that thing exists or is there. And now it feels like you're saying that you do sort of see that. So
No, I understand.
it's
that
a
there are
difficulty,
people
I think,
that
in
have
communicating
experiences.
exactly what I'm... there is a what it is like to be you, right? I mean,
Is there
not
to
a
experience the
one.
world as I
Yeah,
experience it? Yeah.
As you experience it, yeah.
yeah. And I
But
don't know how you explain that in terms of objective facts about the physical world.
by
I'm
putting
not
them together.
saying like you're right, that sort of implies a dualism, but it's mostly what I'm trying to convey is an agnosticism to whether or not there is a dualism there or how that is resolved. Because I don't think that if you explain every, if you write it all down and explain every detail mathematically of how the brain works, I don't think you arrive at an insight into experientially what it is to be that person.
Yeah, I don't think that you get music by looking at the coding of a song on a file on a computer. But that does not mean that the music your computer plays is some other thing besides physical stuff doing something.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it. I'll have to think about that.
Salt of the Earth wants to know if they're defining consciousness as intractability.
What do they mean by intractability here?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Look, if we want to understand what people mean, we got to understand what they mean by the words they say. Otherwise, shit hits the fan real fucking quick.
Maya doesn't like it when we do that and don't just be like, yeah, but the person is dumb though, which they are. Okay, these planets ripped apart by tidal forces.
No, but Salt is not dumb. It's really hard in real time
person on the
to.
screen.
Oh well, yeah. No, but they're not answering. Salt is, and I'm a little.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, one, I get upset when you ask for like clarifying questions from Blessed Be He because it just doesn't exist. But
This
like,
is Salt of the Red Earth, or are they the
yeah,
same?
no, I get that. I mean, but I exacerbated for two different reasons. Here, I really do want to help out the chat because I know that when we do sciencey streams like this, that they want to ask clarifying questions, so that they can keep up. And I would like to be able to help them, but then you're like, well, I need more. I need to know more.
Yeah,
And so we
about what
can't
it
get
is that
that.
they're
Like,
asking.
yeah, I don't know. She's not answering, so I guess we're moving on.
Well, I would say that I did think that fundamentally my issue is an intractable one. The issue of experience, I don't see it feels intractable at a certain level.
So she's
Like,
saying interactability as ability to interact with intractability as the ability to interact with other things.
Okay, see, this is why I asked, because that's not what I had in mind when I first
yeah,
heard
it's
Fair,
also not
fair.
what
Is
I-
consciousness just sort of the ability to interact with the world? I don't think so,
don't think
because I think
so, yeah.
bacteria interact with the world, and I do not take bacteria to be conscious.
I think electrons interact with the world, and I don't
Yeah,
think
electrons
to
aren't.
be conscious.
Are
Yeah.
electrons conscious? Do
Well, but this guy
electrons
does,
feel love?
and like I don't. Yeah, I don't.
No, it actually is, especially in the like, let's say pseudoscience, or at least the woo community. It's very common.
It is, yeah.
Way to describe consciousness. The communities that I came out of, all the planets were conscious. There's like it was understood that what do you call it? Astrology was the way that the planets spoke to one another and to us. And I mean, it just the universe was conscious and stars were conscious and da 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 da. So like anything that existed, the
Yeah.
the ether between were strings, and you could tap into, because
Yep.
there wasn't anything that wasn't something, which I don't know who brought that into the woo community. I do believe that's true, but like not in a conscious
Probably
level.
David Wolf. He's the one that talks about these like strings and
Mm.
octaves where you can
Oh
If you
God,
can,
I'm so
if you
glad
can
I don't know about this.
vibrate these strings on a certain level, you can reach
Yeah, that.
I don't want to think
octave
about this
of,
anymore.
and I'm just like, what the
I'm gonna,
fuck does
I'm gonna
this
take my
fucking mean,
headphones
dude?
off.
Like, I don't even know. I'm a
You're gonna
part of
have
the
to like
world.
indicate with sign language when it's okay for me to put my headphones back on because I don't want to. Okay, fine.
Oh,
I don't. I can't deal with that right now.
yeah, dude,
What?
it's fucking crazy.
Oh my God. Well,
There's
guess what we're doing next week?
that apparently,
Healing
but I can deal with it then. I'll have a week to prepare mentally.
mentally preper.
If this sounds bizarre, consider that quantum physics has already shown us that particles behave differently when observed, as if reality depends on some form of interaction with consciousness.
Particles behave differently when the things that they are exposed to are different. When you look at a particle, you're doing stuff to it. You're interacting with it. It's not weird. It's like saying that a billiard ball moves differently when you hit it with another ball. Like, this is part. It is weird, but it's not weird for that reason.
Yeah.
You can get more precise and make something that sounds like that reason be a lot more weird. And I will talk to you about it all day long. It's very fascinating and yes, sometimes kind of weird, but you can develop an intuition for these things.
Also, I think it should be pointed out that observing quantum mechanics does not mean and has never been conscious observation.
Yes. Oh, they're gonna get to that. Trust me.
Mark Reed says maybe consciousness is a spectrum rather than a discrete, Leo.
Well, yeah, of course, it is. I mean,
Okay.
look at dogs compared to humans, compared to like cockroaches or spiders.
Yeah,
Spiders are
but
actually a rather intelligent insect.
but according to William Lane Craig, right? Dogs and things like that don't have the ability to actually experience suffering. So it's
Oh
fine.
my God. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. You know what? We're not talking about him today. Moving on.
Let's not talk
Consciousness.
about the white
But
Protestant.
here's the real mind bender. What if our consciousness doesn't just perceive reality, but creates it? Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that the universe is not fully determined until it's observed. The particles exist in a state of probability until consciousness collapses them into a defined reality.
That's not a good way of describing that at all. The term collapse is one that I do not like being in my lexicon.
God. And you know what's funny is that like actually
I
out
don't
in the world, wave functions don't collapse. That's not a
Some
thing.
people think they
That
do.
is a-
There are people
I
that argue
know.
about this, but objective collapse theories are always getting more and more unlikely because the ones that actually have numbers behind them, you can test and you can put bounds on, and those bounds keep on getting lower and lower and lower. Because they basically say, like, well, there's a probability that the wave function will just collapse. We're treating that as like a fundamental thing that happens. And it has these consequences, and we checked, and it doesn't seem to happen at a rate of, a certain level. Oh my God, why did I agree to do this video? The problem with talking about wave function collapse and the measurement problem is that it is a conversation that deserves so much more than this.
It's actually pretty heavy in the philosophy of physics too.
Yes.
Well, you're welcome.
And I would say that there is no
I'm
measurement
quitting.
problem. The reason you get different measurements, equally valid different measurements, is due to the way in which you relate to the system you're measuring.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
You have no
Yeah.
idea how hard it is to find a consciousness of science video when you have no idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, you did very well. Yeah.
If this is true, then consciousness isn't just passive, it's an active force that shapes the world around us. This is where things get even
Consciousness does shape the world around us because we shape the world around us.
Exactly.
But this is not a physics or even philosophy like point. This is like a
basic notion.
you gotta get shit done point.
stranger. If reality is shaped by consciousness, we must ask, what was the universe like before there were any conscious beings to observe it? Was it a sea of...
It was That is not okay. So you do not need to have a conscious observer in order to have wave function collapse. Wave function collapse is not a thing in that way, like at all, fundamentally anyway. It's about decoherence and entanglement, and it, it is a deep subject, but you do not have to worry. The universe existed before there were people around to like check if it existed. But like you can't technically prove that is my other point that I was making earlier.
Well, you
about
don't need to
science of
be able to
life.
rigorously prove it because it's not, some sort of mathematical principle. Oh my God. What the fuck was I just about to say? Oh,
I don't
yes.
know,
I think
but
an important thing to talk about here is the notion of what's the phrase? Is the phrase I'm looking for? Hold up here. What is this? What it?
I
Oh
don't
no.
know,
Okay.
man. I
I
assume
know.
you're
I'm
on
just.
some weird
I'm talking to myself.
OnlyFans again because
No. I just want to
you've
make
been
No,
sure
I
reaching
mean
that
it's
out to
like
people.
I
that
was
I'm
waiting
getting
for
my phrases.
I was waiting for his
Um,
computer to go out or something because
so
normally, like right before the
physical
screen goes
realism
black.
is what I wanted to talk about. So
Okay.
physical realism is a notion in physics, and so
Yeah, it's
the thing
hard
is,
to define, right?
quantum mechanics has shown that physical realism is false as a principle, and people
Local
take this to
realism.
mean
Is
that
that what you mean?
what
Do you mean local realism? That's the term I'm more familiar with.
I'm talking
But
about physical realism.
I guess I'm
I'm
right.
here for the ride.
You're right. No, honestly, this is an issue where the exact language kind of depends on who you're reading because uh the it there people disagree on exactly what is meant by realism in physics, and so when you say what are the properties of physical realism?
Okay, so it's effectively um two different postulates. The first
Hmm.
one is that um physical objects are in a definitive state independent of any measurements on them. And the second one is that when you measure a system, measuring that system does not affect the state of the system being measured. Now, in quantum physics, both of those are false. And
Yes.
those both being true is generally what is called physical realism.
Okay, so it's not a
So,
it's not a physics term. It's a meta. It's more of a philosophy
well,
and
I would
metaphysics.
consider it a physics term. This
Fair
has to
enough.
do with things like Bell's inequality, and then there's another one, the
Well,
Leggett-Garg inequality,
well, that's why I'm
which
asking because I've never heard that term applied to Bell's inequality. I've only heard the term local realism applied to Bell's inequality, and in that case, it's specifically the the there's locality, which is the ability for information to propagate at at a faster than the speed of light. If you can have information propagate faster, well, that's not a great way of defining it. It's not information because Bohmian mechanics is non-local, but information still doesn't propagate. So it's for a particular type of. It's the speed of causality, basically,
mhm,
and the idea that you cannot have causal effects go faster than the speed of light is the
mhm.
concept of locality, and then the concept of realism is similar to sort of what you described. I feel
Yeah,
like it probably is maybe
that's what
so.
I'm referring to, is that
Okay,
there are
yeah.
people like inspiring philosophy who think that the falsity of physical realism means that independent of observation, there literally is no physical reality. No. There is. It's just not.
How do you
It's
define?
not definitely doing anything.
So how do you define physical reality then? And can you define it instrumentally, or can you only define it? Um, so because like the definition of physical reality, or specifically an element of physical reality that was outlined by EPR, was about the ability hypothetically to to predict at some level, um with like arbitrary precision, the outcome of an experiment. With I Did they include without changing the outcome or not? I can't remember. But they had a specific instrumental sort of way of defining what an element of physical reality was. So which was subtle and annoying. And so that would be, so how would you define it? Is it is it something that can be defined instrumentally? There is in principle. We don't have to actually be able to do it, but like hypothetically, there would be information that you could know that would allow you to predict an outcome, or that there is an outcome, but it might be unknowable. Because
Well, I would define physical reality as the external reality that we are a part of. That's what.
Okay, so that
physical realism, again, I would just give by the two postulates that it's given by.
Okay.
I think it's also referred to as macro realism, but I know it as physical realism.
Interesting. Yeah, so these are not terms that I'm familiar with in physics. Realism is always a term that is generally paired with another word, because on its own it's hard to define. The only definition that I know is the one that I alluded to. I probably did not articulate it very well, which frankly is not my fault. I'm describing the EPR paper. It's the paper about entanglement. It's complicated stuff, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about it, and it's not easy to explain. Anyway, I'm sorry, Maya. This was probably very boring for you.
Oh no, I just tuned out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
The play button.
Endless possibilities waiting to be brought into existence? Or could it be that the universe only really began when consciousness arrived to interact with it? Quantum mechanics
No, that's dumb. Why would you think that?
already challenges our understanding of reality with its multiverses, superpositions, and paradoxes like Schrödinger's cat, both alive and...
It's not a paradox. There's no paradox in Schrödinger's cat. It's just, it does just say weird things about, like, reality. No, basically, no matter what way you slice it, like, something kind of atypical is happening. But...
No, I don't think you understand. He doesn't understand it, therefore paradox.
But there is no world in which you would ever observe the cat being alive and dead at the same time. You will never open the box and see both a living and dead cat. That's not how it works.
What did I just say?
I don't know. I tuned it out.
He doesn't understand, therefore paradox. So
look at the kitty.
Anything else is going too far. You're thinking too hard. It's an AI generated script.
You're thinking.
AI voice.
This is the Trump era. We don't fucking think.
There's no need for it anymore.
Fair.
and dead at the same time until someone opens the box to observe it. These strange phenomena suggest that reality doesn't behave in a way that makes sense to our everyday experience.
Wait. What?
What? Okay.
Both alive and dead at the same time until someone opens the box to observe it.
What?
These strange phenomena.
What the fuck? What? That is not how that works. No. Oh my god, this is that whole quantum mechanics. The particle can be in two places at the same time. No, it doesn't say that. It's never fucking said that. Not once. Not ever.
I don't like.
It says that if there's a particular observable about a quantum system that you would like to measure, that, well, if you haven't already measured it, there's a potential set of measurements that you could get. that kind of depend on how you relate to the system when you make the measurement.
Yeah, okay, I will give them this one. We totally talk about particles being in multiple places at the same time. It's the best
I
way
mean,
to
you can talk
describe
about
it.
Yeah, you
Like,
could talk about it.
like
But
it's the best way
physicists
to
know what
describe
that
it.
means.
Yes, you're right. You're right, but that is the best language, even like in just sort of talking about it without using the explicit linear algebra and whatnot of quantum mechanics. When if you hit an atom with a pi over 2 pulse, then you have a chunk of the wave function that's going in this direction and a chunk that's staying still, and both of those things are happening at the same time, and we do describe it as the particle being in multiple places at the same time. So you're right. It's much more precise than that, but like I'm not going to begrudge them that language in this case because I don't have better language for them to use other than to go and get a degree in physics, which is not particularly helpful and is just kind of, so yeah.
I do have to get going because it's almost 11 o'clock and I have to work tomorrow.
Right.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, we got through a lot more than 4 minutes. We're at
Yeah, we
almost
did.
11 and a half.
We
You want to get to
are.
minute
We
12
are.
and go, or do you want to call it off now?
I am
No.
probably going to go now. Get everything.
Fair
Well,
enough.
Well, yeah, you guys tell everybody who you are, where you are, and what you have. Anything you plan coming up this year?
Not planned, but
Who
something
are
maybe,
you?
hopefully.
If you ever do anything again, who are you? Where are you?
I am this guy who can be found at this name on YouTube.
And there will soon be an OnlyFans.
Physics is hard.
Physics is hard.
So are we.
You said in April you're gonna try to any plans?
Sometime
are we allowed
maybe
to know?
like around there. I don't know. Something.
All right.
It kind of just depends. There's some things that are maybe a little up in the air right now that
Fair.
that I need to work through, figure out what's going on, what we're gonna do
Okay.
here.
Life
Well, we
sucks
do
till you
appreciate
die.
you for coming through.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
appreciate
stayed
you
with us
having me.
for 2.5 hours. We asked you for 2, so I do appreciate it. And I don't know. Well, hopefully we'll see you again at some point in the year
Yeah, yeah. You know,
or
if
next year.
anybody had like, if anybody still did the old classic open mics that they used to, I might still be around and people would see me more. But nobody wants to fucking do that anymore.
Okay,
So
so in fairness, there's some people that don't know how to play well with others, and
send them
kind
to
of
me. I'll straighten them out.
they kind of fucked it up for everybody. So yeah, those kind of dwindled, and I miss those too. Not even
Me too,
because
yeah.
I used to jump in them. I had a lot of fun just arguing with assholes in the chat. Who are you? You know.
Don't be redundant.
Fair.
Love you, Leo.
All right.
But yeah, I'm gonna peace out.
Fantastic.
All right. We'll see you
All right.
later.
You guys take it easy.
You
I have
too.
no idea what button I'm supposed to close. Here.
There's
You
an
just
X
exit out
at
the
the
thing.
top of the screen.
Boom.
I'm just gonna close out the tab.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. That's what.
That's what I always do as well.
Yeah. Same. All right, Vandy. What's going on with you at doing? Remember when you used to do shit and stuff?
No, I don't because I'm not very smart. I was on the stream on Friday with Dr. Kip. So everybody should go and sub to
Myth Vision.
and
Is there
Dr.
anybody
Kip.
here that is not already subbed to Myth Vision?
You never know, okay? I mean, how many people here, if there's anybody who's not subbed to me, you should sub to me because I will give you nothing in response. Unless
Yeah,
I get
we
to
have
a million
more
subs, in
people
which case I
watching
will
than
make content.
we have more people watching than you have total subs, I believe.
How many people do we have watching?
Right now,
No,
45.
no, we have. I actually do have more. So I think I do. That might not be
Wow.
true.
Look
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah. Well, see, it's a number that goes up but never goes down because I'm
For
very
reasons.
attractive.
Oh,
That's all I
yeah.
got.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're like hoping that one day you'll get off your ass and do anything at all. As am I.
That's why. Why are you hoping that?
I don't know
I
why I would
know
think
I'm a lot
that.
smarter than that. Okay, I pick my battles, and so far the battle of actually trying to like make content, not a
Mm.
battle I can win. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
that.
it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
I don't
Yeah,
even know
I
what I would
too
do.
would like to make more like if I really wanted to grow, I think I'd do like more what you call it, streams, like not streams, the scripted vids. And I'm just like, you know what? I like to
There's
sleep.
so much work. It's
I'm
it's a
just saying
lot
though.
like proper like so if I were going to like go into YouTube and decide to do that, like the level of being ready for it that I feel like I would have to have in order to like do that, it there's one person who I've seen pull that off. Paula.
Mm.
And Paula already
Does
was
not
like
have a day job. Yeah, it
well,
does not have a
no,
day
and
job
he
though.
already had all the skills. He
Yes.
already worked
Yes.
in like the
It
film
wasn't like a
editing
learning, there wasn't
industry.
a steep learning curve. Yeah,
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. Paula just came onto the scene and was
It's
like,
like,
I have an avatar, I have a style, I have production quality, I have a name, I have an intro thing. Like, you go back to his very first video,
yeah, I mean,
and
just
it's
quality.
the same intro. Because he did it right. And that is my standard, and I'm gonna stick with my day job because it's the only place that I can pull that off on.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I have very
Um,
high.
I was gonna,
Yeah.
part of me was gonna say fair, but I'm like, there's a lot of
No, it's
people
not
out
fair.
there
It's pretty
that are making
unreasonable.
it and not as high quality as Paula was when he started out. God.
Yeah, no, it's. I've been watching.
So
I've also been
we're
watching a lot of
we're being
Apologia recently.
corrected. We've got to pronounce things right. Sorry.
No,
Pologia. No,
it's Pologia.
It's
It's Pologia.
It's Pologia. And stop it. You're gonna get us. Look, if you have to cancel anybody, it's Tapioca Weasel at
I
Gmail or something. I don't know. But it's not me. Like I don't want to hear it. I tried.
it's Pologia, not
Pologia.
Pologia.
Yeah.
Pologia. Pologia.
Okay,
It
we're
might
gonna
be
end this now.
Pologia.
Look, troops, my ears are bleeding too. Like he
Yeah,
does
my
this just to
like this
fuck
too.
with me. You are collateral damage. Again, hashtag cancel tap.
Cancel that.
But yeah, he was on Myth Vision. It was Friday, yeah. I keep thinking Thursday because it's supposed to be Thursday. But apparently it's Dr. Kip's words, not mine. Dr. Josh doesn't know how to read a goddamn map.
Yeah, that was hilarious. It was also hilarious because Derek had no idea who I was,
Oh yeah.
and like just let me on because he was probably like,
Let me.
this guy seems fine. Yeah, and
Like boom, did it
so
again.
yeah, but
Um,
yeah, he said he'd come on the show, so we got to schedule him.
right, yeah, we will get right on that. All right, everybody. I don't have anything planned coming up, but sometimes that changes the day before. Um, but if nothing else, we'll see you next week, and we have Durante Lamar scheduled. So, love you guys. Have a great week.